Hello and welcome. I'm Ciarra. For today's practice, you will need your blocks and a strap. I would also like to recommend that you have some water nearby. If you would like to use a blanket or a bolster during Shavasana, please have those within reach as well. I will not be playing music during today's practice, so if you want to pause the video to set the mood, please do so now. Otherwise, let's get started. So I invite you to come to an easy seat. That could be cross-legged. Perhaps you want to go ahead and grab your block. Maybe that means that you're supporting the hips and sitting cross-legged. Perhaps you want to come to the knees, placing the block between the hips for a little extra support. Okay? Once you're nice and comfortable, bring your hands to heart center. We're going to open today's practice with the sound of 1 Om, knowing that Om is the universal sound of the earth. You can join in or you can listen along. Inhaling for Om. At this time, you can keep your eyes closed, or if you're not quite ready to close the eyes, maybe gaze down towards the floor or towards the tips of your fingers. And notice your breath. Try not to change it or to judge it, just take note of it. With every inhale, allow clear mind to be your focus. And with every exhale, push away any distracting thoughts. I invite you to open the hands into lotus, keeping the thumbs and the pinky fingers connected while rounding the hands. The base of the palm is connected as well. And while we're in lotus, we're going to take our attention to our heart space. And I ask you, what does your heart desire? Take a moment to reflect on that thought. Maybe your desires are surrounding your home life, what your home looks like, smells like, feels like. Maybe it's surrounding career. Maybe it's surrounding things that bring you joy. Maybe it's hopes of travel and exploring, discovery. Whatever your heart's desire is, take a moment and really paint the picture, visualize it. See it there in your imagination, see it in your mind. And once you've painted that picture, see yourself there in the image, exactly where you want to be. I ask you another question. Who do you trust? Who do you trust to make your heart's desire a reality? Is it you? Maybe loved ones or colleagues, people that can help you get to where you want to be. Is it God? Is it the universe? Where does your trust lie? And throughout our practice today, I invite you to explore that thought. What is my heart's desire? Who do I trust to help me make it a reality? Bring your palms back to heart center. If you choose to set an intention for today's practice, now is a great time to do so. Release your hands down to your knees. Relaxing the shoulders onto the back. Allow the eyes to flutter open. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and remove the block and come into bound angle pose with the bottoms of the feet touching and the knees out wide. So take a moment to adjust. Make whatever adjustments you need to, maybe moving the feet away from you a bit, bringing them in closer. And keep the hands on the feet, maybe around the ankles, perhaps at the knees. We're going to go through some seated cat-cows. So as we inhale, wherever you choose to place your hands, open the chest, lift the chin up toward the ceiling. And as you exhale, tuck the chin, round the shoulders, round the back. Inhale, open up. Exhale. Take your time, do this at your own pace. And when you're ready, find a neutral spine. If you're on your last one, take your time. Listen to the body. Let's take the arms up into the air. And we're going to bend the elbows as we open the chest, bringing the elbows down, engaging the core here. Really breathe through it. Breathe through everything that you're feeling right now. And if your legs in bound angle get to be a little too intense, maybe just pull one leg closer to you and allow it to relax. Nice audible breaths here. One more time. Good. Relaxing the hands down. Let's release that. Let's come into downward dog. Swing the knees around. Find yourself in tabletop. Extend the legs long, curls toed under, we're in plank. Send the hips into the air, coming into downward dog. And take your time here. Bend the knees, walk the dog. Take whatever movements we need to make to get your body adjusted to this down dog. Now remember, in down dog, we're distributing the weight evenly between the hands and the feet. So if it feels like there's too much weight in the hands, try pulling the heels down, sending the chest towards the tops of the thighs, keeping the biceps by the ears. And when you're ready, you're going to ground down through the right foot. We're going to send the left heel up into the air, bend the knee, flex the foot, opening the hip for a scorpion tail. Maybe the gaze goes underneath the armpit. Breathe through this. Good. Bring the knee and the foot back down. Balance out this down dog. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Grounding down through the left foot, lifting this right heel. Ooh, find your balance. Bend the knee, flex the foot, open the hip for the scorpion tail. Good. Knee comes down, foot comes down, balance out this down dog. I'm going to bring the feet together just a little bit, bend the knees, and tiptoe ourselves up to our hands. Knees stay bent. Belly is on the top of the thigh. Let's enjoy this for just a moment.
And slowly start to straighten out the knees, sending the hips into the air. Perhaps you need a block here to place the hands on. Hands to shins, coming into flat back, halfway forward fold. And you're going to exhale, bring it down. Bend the knees slightly, lifting up. Maybe the arms come up. And find yourself in heart center. I'm going to face you, find your mountain. In our mountain pose, our feet are together, pressing down through all four corners of the feet. Lifting the kneecaps, internally rotating the thighs, engaging the glutes, maybe squeezing just below the belly button. Shoulders are relaxed down and away from the ears. Chin is parallel to the ground. This is mountain. Take a few breaths here. On your next inhale, take the arms up into the air, making sure the shoulders are not too close to the ears. If they are, melt them down. And take our left hand, grabbing the right wrist, coming into crescent here. We're going to lift through the right side body, send the right hip out, and go over to the left. That right palm is facing the floor. Continue to breathe. Good. Slowly come back to center. Release the wrist. And do the same thing on the other side. Lifting through that left side body. Be mindful that we're not taking the shoulder up into the ear. The shoulder stays right where it is. We're lifting through the side body. Sending that left hip out. Arching over to the right side. Left palm faces the mat. Take a few breaths here. Slowly make your way back to center. Release the wrist. Find yourself back in mountain. Good. You're going to turn back to the top of the mat. Arms come up above your head. We're going to swan dive down into forward fold. Now remember, you can have your block here if the palms aren't quite on the mat yet, or maybe bend the knees slightly. The choice is yours. Continue to breathe. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, come right back down. Let's take a few more breaths here. Inhale one more time. Halfway lift. Bend at the knees. Palms come to the mat. Step back into plank. Lower the knees. Move the block. Keeping the elbows nice and close. Lower the chest and the chin. Inhale. Come into up dog. Tops of the feet down to the mat. Engaging the core. Sending the hips up into the air. We're coming into down dog. Good. Let's drop the knees down to the mat. We're going to take the knee towards the nose. Press the foot down towards the mat. Right foot, that is. We're going to take this left knee. We're just going to shift it back just a little bit. Flatten out the top of that left foot. Finding your balance, taking your time, pressing down through
the bottom of this right foot. Lift up. Send the arms up into the air. And maybe you can lean forward just a smidge, opening up that left hip flexor. Bring the arms back down to frame the foot. Send the hip back. Bring the right foot back to meet the left. Lowering down, just the chest and the chin, tops of the feet are to the mat. Nice, good exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down dog.
We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just take one breath here. Knee comes close to the nose, pressing that left foot down. Now remember, at any time, we have to get this foot between our hands. You can always drop the knees first and then take it forward. The choice is yours. Listen to your body. So from here, we're going to take this right knee, move it back ever so slightly so that we're not putting the pressure directly on the kneecap. Tops of the right foot is facing the mat. Pressing down through this left foot. Find your balance. Squeeze the hips together. I know they're apart, but squeeze them together. Take the arms up. Good. Maybe lean forward. One side might feel different than the other. That's okay. Take the hands down, frame the foot. Choice is yours. Either bring the right knee back to meet the left or lift the right foot, come into plank. You can lower the knees down if you need to. Otherwise, chaturanga. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward dog. Good. We're going to keep it going here. We're going to keep it going. So bend that right knee, round the back. Bring the knee to the nose. Send it up into the air. Bring the knee to the right elbow. Breathe through it. Bring it up into the air. Bring the knee into the left elbow. Breathe through it. Bring it up into the air. Place it down. Take 2 breaths here. Bend that left knee. Knee comes to the nose. Take the leg up into the air. Knee comes to the left elbow. Take the leg up into the air. Knee comes to the right elbow, twisting. Take the leg up into the air. Bring it down. Let it go. Lower the knees to the mat. Big toes touching, knees wide. Send the hips back. We're coming into child's pose here. Now while you're in child's pose, I want you to extend those arms. Really stretching out the back. We're working the back a lot today. Forehead to the mat. You're going to stay here for 5 breaths. While in child's pose, you have lots of options. So you can stay right there where you are. Maybe bring the knees in a little bit if that feels more comfortable for you. Maybe you want to roll the forehead back and forth on the mat if that feels more comfortable for you. You can also, at any time, take the arms, rest them onto the tops of the thighs, palms facing the ceiling. This allows you to have a little more space. Now, at any time throughout the practice, bring the hands below the shoulders. At any time throughout the practice, you can come into child's pose. Tuck the chin, round the back, come back into tabletop. Child's pose is a resting posture. So is downward facing dog. At any time, you do not have to wait for me. At any time you want to take a resting posture, take a breath, come into child's pose, come into down dog, maybe even just lower your knees for a moment into tabletop. Okay? From here,
Spine is neutral. Let's take the right foot. Yeah, let's go with the right foot. Right leg, excuse me. Bend the knee, round the back, knee towards nose. See if we can get that foot between our hands. Good. Now we're going to tuck this back toe. And we're bringing the left foot to meet the right. So engage the glutes, engage the core, squeeze the hips together, and press down into the mat, bringing both feet next to each other. Belly is on top of the thigh. Palms are facing the, palms are pressed down into the mat. Slowly start to extend the legs, sending the hips into the air. We're in forward fold. Looks good. Inhale, lift, halfway lift. Exhale, down, bend the knees ever so slightly. Reverse swan dive, those arms up into the air. Bring the hands down through heart center. We're going to find your mountain. Stay here for just a moment. Take a few breaths. Good. Bring the hands to the hips. You're going to step back with the right foot. You're going to pivot that heel down. So both feet are flat to the mat. Heel is not up, the heel is not lifted off of the mat. Both feet are flat. We're going to shift our hips so that we're facing forward. We're going to come into warrior one by bending this left knee, this front knee, sending the arms up into the sky. Maybe you need to create a little bit more space so you can get deeper into your warrior one. Tune into the body. Ask yourself what you need. Continue to breathe. And now pivot that heel. We're in high lunge. Maybe you can sit a little bit deeper. Maybe that knee is bent. Listen to the body. Good. Hands down, bring the hands to the hips. We're going to ground down through this left foot, bringing this right foot to join the left. Good. Same thing on the other side. Left foot goes, steps back. Hips are facing forward. Both feet are flat to the mat. Bend that front knee, coming into warrior one, lifting the arms. Breathing. Pulling the mat apart with your feet. And now, pivot that back heel. We're on the ball of that left foot. We are in high lunge. Keep it going. Breathe through it. Breathe through it. Hands come down to the hips. Ground down through the right foot. Bring the left foot to meet the right. Face forward. Find yourself a mountain. Nice deep breaths here. Maybe open the mouth for a nice audible sigh. A cleansing breath. Let it go. Good, 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 good. I'm going to come into chair pose here. So feet together, knees together. Unless you're having a little bit of aching or pain in the low back, then maybe you want to create just a bit of space. Otherwise, everything's together. We're going to take a nice big inhale as we bend at the knees, lifting the arms through the shoulder sockets. Breathe here. Good. Bring the hands down to heart center. We're going to take a twist. I'm going to twist over to our right side, bringing this left elbow down to the right thigh. But first, check in with the knee. See how that left knee likes to shift forward? Take the left hip, bring it back in line. Good. Opening up through the back. Not just the shoulders, but opening from the back for this twist. Perhaps you open the arms, deepening the twist. Maybe you stay here.
And when you're ready, your body will tell you when you're ready. Reverse the steps and come to standing. Come back into mountain. Breathe. Good. Same thing on the other side. Nice big inhale, coming into chair pose. Exhale, bringing the hand to heart center. Hands, not hand. We're going to twist over to the left, bringing that right elbow, that right tricep down to the left thigh. Checking with that right hip, checking with that right knee. It's all connected. Send it back. Maybe open up for a deeper twist. Breathe through it. And reverse those steps. Come to standing. Come to mountain. Nice strong mountain. Feeling the feet rooted into the mat, into the ground. Good, 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 good. All right, and have a little bit of fun. And come into dancing warrior. So, hands to your hips. You can step or you can hop. Bring some space between those legs. The right foot is already right where we need it. The toes are facing the long edge of the mat. Side of the foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. I'm going to take this left heel, pivot it towards the front of the mat, just like we just did in Warrior 1, but this back foot is at about 3 o'clock. All right, so hips are facing forward, facing the long edge of the mat. We're going to be mindful of this knee. This knee is going to want to lean inward. We're going to send it out, tracking it over the toes as we bend into that knee. Now, if you're like me, you may need some more space here. Take that back foot, step it back. Hips are facing forward as much as you can. Take just a little room that you have and see if you can just tuck that right there. Good. Bring the arms into a T, gazing over the left fingers. Maybe you can sit a little deeper, but being mindful to keep that knee in line with that ankle. Good. Now we said we were going to dance, so let's do it. Reverse that left palm. Send that arm up into the air. Now you can stay here. This is pretty. You can relax that arm down. Maybe you want to take this arm, wrap it around the body, hook it, and lean back just a little bit more. If you want to get fancy, reverse the palm up into the air. Good. Come right back into Warrior 2. Let's straighten that front leg. Maybe close the space here just a little bit. Have your block handy. We're coming into triangle. Just want to send this hip back, hinging forward. When we can't go anymore, that's when we rotate, bringing this hand down. Maybe the hand lands on the foot, the calf. This is not the calf, the shin. And maybe you want to keep this hand on the hip, being mindful to keep this shoulder in line, nice and open. Maybe you come down to your block. If it's available for you, you can remove the block, bringing the hand just inside the foot. I like my blocks. I'm going to keep my block right here. Enjoy this. Breathe through it. Feel the heat. Take your gaze back down to the floor. We're coming right back into Warrior 2. Inhale. Good. Excellent job. Excellent job. Now, we're going to put our hands to our hips. Straighten that leg. Move this block just in case you're going to need it on the other side. We're going to pivot these feet. Right toes are facing the short edge of this mat this time. These toes here at about 9 o'clock, we moved our clock. Hips facing forward. See if we can tuck ever so slightly. Maybe create a little bit more space. Go ahead and start to bend that front knee. That feels good. Arms out in a T. Shoulders are strong. These arms are extending from the back through the shoulders. Nice and strong. They call it Warrior for a reason. Let's dance. Reverse this palm and take it up. You can stay here. You can relax that hand down on the hamstring. You can take it around, hook it, maybe reverse this, lean back a little bit more. Good. Come right back into warrior two. Straighten that front leg. You know what's coming next. We're coming in a triangle. Grab the block if you need it. This hip is going back, hinging forward until we can't go anymore. Then we come down. And remember, this hand can be here. The chest is open. It can be here. You can even take it behind you. Reach around for that thigh. Listen to the body. Do what the body needs. Good. Take your gaze back down to the floor. We're coming right back into warrior two. Nice big inhale. Let it go. Excellent job. Excellent job. All right, let's extend. And we're gonna pivot, moving that block right out of the way, but keep it nearby. All right, take a moment, shake it off. We're coming into pyramid. So we're gonna take both of our feet, pivot the toes towards the front of the mat. Not as much space as in with warrior two and triangle, okay? Hands can come into heart center behind the back. If that's available for you, you can grab your wrist, maybe grab the elbows. Find what's comfortable, find what feels good, and then stay there. Maybe open the chest, tilt the chin up, and we're gonna fold forward. If this feels good, stay here. Otherwise, maybe you wanna continue bringing that knee down towards the nose. Check in with that back heel. I just noticed my heel was turned a little bit. Check in with that back heel. Both feet are parallel to the long edge of the mat. Good. Inhale, come up. Keep the balance. Release the arms. Pivot. We're doing the same thing on the other side. Hips are facing forward. Maybe open the chest. Tilt the chin up. And fold. Stay here if you want to. One side might be different from the other. Check in with that back heel. Is it parallel to the long edge of the mat? Keep your balance. Squeeze the hips together, engaging through the core. Good. Inhale, lift. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. All right. Wide leg forward fold. Either step or jump. Legs are nice and wide. Now your toes should be facing forward. The feet are parallel to the short edge of the mat now. Or see if you can turn the toes inward, bringing the heels outward just a little bit. Now, as we start to hinge forward, we're gonna put our hands on our hips. We wanna be mindful not to send the hips backwards when we bend forward, right? So we wanna take the thumbs right behind us and use the thumbs to send us forward. Good, hinging at the hips. Release the hands down. Maybe crown of the head goes to face the floor. Lift up. Bend the elbows, come back down. Let's stay here for a few breaths. Maybe walk the hands back. Hands come right below the shoulders. Balance, grounding down through the feet. Hands come to the hips. We're lifting. All right, you know what's coming next. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Take your hands, clasp them behind your back, extending the arms long. We're taking a bind here, okay? Shoulders are down and away from the ears. We're gonna fold, being mindful to fold forward without sending the hips back, okay? Folding forward, continue to breathe. Now, you can keep the arms right where they are, or for a deeper shoulder opener, you can start to lift the fist and allow gravity to sink them down towards the floor. Take 2 breaths here. Slowly slowly, slowly start to release that bind, allowing the arms to come down like quicksand, hands below the shoulders. We're going to walk around to the right foot, bending that right knee. Then we're going to pivot that back heel so that it's down. Both feet are flat to the mat. Find your balance. Come on up. We're in warrior one stance here. Arms come up. We're going to take our right hand, grabbing the left wrist, coming into crescent warrior. Now, be mindful of this knee. Can you sit a little deeper? Good. Lift up. Arch over to the right. Maintain your balance. Squeeze the hips together. Maybe engage that left glute. Good. Bring it back to the center. Left hand grabs right wrist. Going over to the left now. Palm facing the floor. Good. Stay here. Bring the arms down. Take that bind again. If it's available for you, take that bind again. We're coming into humble warrior. If it's not available, maybe you grab the wrist. Okay? And we're going down. Be mindful not to let the weight fall into this right leg. We're engaging and we're sending the shoulders down and back. Good. Inhale, lift. Let it go. Take the hands down. Frame the foot. Good. Just sit here for just a second in this lunge. This feels good. Good. Start to extend both legs. We're walking over to do the same thing on the other side. Coming into that low lunge. Chest is open. Looking at the wall in front of you. You're going to pivot that back foot down. Finding your balance. Come up. Warrior one. Left hand grabs right wrist. Find your balance. Squeeze the hips together. Leaning over to the left side. Good. Bring it back to center. Let that go. Opposite side. Right hand grabs left wrist. Lean over to the right side. Keep breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing. Bring it back to the center. Balancing here. Take the bind if it's available for you. Humble warrior. Breathe through it. Good. Slowly release the hands. Hands come down to the mat. We're in this low lunge. Now, you can either drop the knee down or come into this plank and then drop the knees down. We're just going to go ahead and lower our bodies all the way down to the mat. Okay? Move back just a little bit. Take the arms long. Take your right cheek to the mat. And just let all of that go. Breathe. Relax all the muscles in your body. Take a moment here. Maybe close the eyes. And breathe. Good. Left cheek to the mat. Bring your head back to neutral. Zip up those legs. Tops of the feet, tops of the toes, pressing down into the ground. Extend the arms long. Fingertips pressing down into the ground. We're going to inhale, lift the head, lift the chest. Locust one. Breathing through this. Continue to breathe. Lower down. Bring the hands just underneath the shoulders. And as you start to lift on an inhale, slide the forearms forward so the elbows
are underneath the shoulders, a little bit deeper in this back bend. Tops of the toes are still pressing down into the mat. This is Sphinx pose. Good. Open those elbows, lower down. We're coming into crocodile here. You can take your hands, you're going to interlace them. We're going to place them behind our head. And as we lift, we're going to be mindful to open through the elbows, pressing the tops of the feet down onto the mat. So hands to the head. Inhale, lift. Open up. Maybe bend the knees. See if that provides a little bit more relief. Good. Lower down. Bring the hands by your side. Elbows in nice and close. Zip the legs. We're lifting up into tabletop. Good. Now, we're going to come into baby bird with our knee down. So we're going to really find nice, firm stance here, okay? Left hand is right under, or left wrist rather, is right under that shoulder, and we're pressing the mat away from us, really engaging there. You should feel the engagement in and throughout the chest. Engaging the core, squeezing the hips together, engaging the glutes. You're going to start by lifting this right leg. And you're going to open up the knee. Find some balance throughout the left side. Take your time. Take your time. Woo. Press down into the top of that left foot to really get in through this. Grabbing this right ankle. Once you get there, flex the foot. Press the right ankle away from you as you continue to open the chest. This was good. Good. Take your time. Release that. Lower down. Nice. I'm going to turn around. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Finding that balance throughout the right side body. Pressing down through the top of the foot, the calf, pressing the ground away from you. Lifting and opening that hip. Getting yourself prepared, and when you're ready, remember, squeeze the hips, engage the core, open the chest, reach back. For that left ankle, flex the foot. Press into that hand by moving the left ankle away from you. Take your gaze where you need to. And when you're ready to come out of it, lower down. Good. Take a breath here. Find your balance. We're coming up onto our knees. Have a block handy. We're coming into camel. So, knees are about hips width apart. You can have the tops of the feet down towards the mat, or you can do what we call our toe crusher. Curling the toes under. Now, curling the toes under does make your heels a little more accessible. So that is an option for you. Play around with that, see how the body feels. We're going to take this block, place it right between the thighs. Nice and secure, block isn't going anywhere. Make two fists. Take the fists, press them into the low back. Right about there, just above the bottom, okay? And you're gonna send the hips forward, engaging the glutes, and open the chest. And as you open the chest, you notice maybe as the chest climbs the wall, up toward the ceiling, you start to bend. We'll stay here, see how that feels. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Release it, come back up. I'm gonna try it one more time. And you can do the same thing or you can come into the full expression. Opening the chest, sending the hips forward. And you notice when you send the hips forward, the body responds, the glutes are engaged, the adductors are engaged. Allow the chest to climb the wall. And if you like, you can reach one hand back. See if the fingers can graze the heel. Maybe that feels good. Maybe you take one and you try it on the other side. Maybe you come into that toe pressure. Be mindful to send the hips forward. Good. Slowly release one hand. Slowly release the other. Let's just go ahead and sit down. Leave the block where it is. If your toes are tucked under and this is comfortable for you, stay here. If not, flatten out the feet. Let's just take a breath. Just take a breath. Good. Let's remove that block. I'm going to turn to face you. We're going to sit down, leaving the right leg right where it is. So the right knee is bent and my hips, my sit bones are really close to that right heel. We're going to bend this left knee. Take the left foot, place it in front of the right knee. Now you see how that hip wants to lift? Set it back down. Good. Maybe that means you have to move the foot out a little bit further. That's okay. Whatever's comfortable for you. So we're going to take a twist here. I'm going to start first by just taking the right hand around that left knee, lifting through the spine, and just starting to twist. Gentle twist, coming into it nice and gentle. If you want to deepen this, you can take this right elbow to this left knee. You take this left hand, place it behind you. Maybe look over that left shoulder. Maybe you look forward. The choice is yours, but just continue to breathe through this, sending the oxygen all the way down the spine. Slowly release. Quick counter twist. Good. Release that. And do the same thing on the other side. Take this left heel, bring it right nice and close to the right sits bones, the right hip. Right foot comes to the outside of this left knee. Elongate through the spine and just start with a gentle twist. And if you want to go deeper, take this elbow to the right knee, lifting through this left hand, take it behind you. Look over the right shoulder, or maybe you want to look forward. The choice is yours. Send the oxygen down to the spine. Good. Slowly unravel. Quick counter twist. Bring the knees back in front of you. I'm just going to turn. If you're already in line with the mat, stay where you are. Send the hips closer to the heels. Hands come behind the knees. Slowly and with control, lower down. Good. Bring the knees up. We're going to come into happy baby. So you can take your peace fingers and place them between the big toe and the second toe. Or you can take your hands and grab the outsides of your feet. The choice is yours.
Send the heels toward the ceiling. Bottoms of the feet are facing the ceiling, or the sky if you're outside. You can start to rock side to side here, opening up the hips, massaging the back. Maybe bring the feet together. Perhaps extend one leg or the other. Play around here, see what you need, check in with the body. Have a little more work to do. We want to thank the body for what it's done so far. Good. Allowing the feet to stay connected. Slowly and with control, lower the feet down to the mat for reclined bound angle. We're just going to take our hands to the outside of the thighs. Close the legs like a book. Lift the feet from the mat. Allow the legs to fall over to the left side. Try to keep both shoulders down on the mat. Maybe your arms are in a T. Maybe you're in goalpost arms. Maybe you're looking over the right shoulder. If this feels good, stay here. If you're looking for something a little deeper, maybe take that bottom foot, that left foot, and rest it on top of the right knee, stretching out the right hip a little bit more. You've got options. Explore them. Good. All right. Release that. Right knee comes back to center. Left knee comes to join. Same thing on the other side. Release it down to the right. My bolster. I love my bolster, but it's always getting in my way. Release it down to the right. Arms in goalpost arms or out in airplane arms. Maybe look over the left shoulder. Maybe take the right foot, rest it on top of the left knee, stretching out this part of the right leg, the left leg, excuse me. Slowly release. Left knee comes back to center. Right knee comes to meet it. Just bring the knees into the chest. Maybe you lift your head off of the mat. Really get the knee to the nose. Maybe you release that down and just rock side to side or back and forth. I'm going to grab the bottoms of the feet here. We're going to come into a modified, reclined west stretch. So keeping the knees nice and close, thighs close to the belly. We're going to start to extend the legs behind us. Maybe you keep the knees bent. Sending the heels back. Maybe you lift the head. And relax down. Bend the knees. Hands behind the heels. We're going to rock back up. Sitting behind the knees, not behind the heels, excuse me. I'm going to switch back just a little bit, extending these legs long, coming into staff pose, our seated mountain. Flexing the toes towards you, lifting the kneecaps, internally rotating the thighs, engaging the glutes, hands by your side. Arms nice and straight if you can. Keep the shoulders down. Breathe. Release that. Good. Let's bring the right knee into the chest. Allow the knee to fall over to the right side. Center yourself over this left leg. Continuing to flex that foot. Remove any flesh that needs to be removed. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, we fold forward. Slowly, slowly start to walk yourself back up.
Lift this right knee, give it a hug. Extend that out long. Lift the left knee, allow it to fall down to the left side. Center yourself over this right foot. Flex. Arms go up as we inhale. We fold as we exhale. Continue to breathe. Slowly, slowly, slowly walk yourself back up. Bring this left knee in. Give it a hug. Good. All right. Now we're going to come into a shoulder stand sequence. You've got a couple of options here, okay? Let's go ahead and just bend the knees. Send the hips close to the heels. You can either take the hands behind the knees and slowly lower down with control, or first lower down onto the forearms, and with control, lower down onto the back. Now, the most important thing with the shoulder stand is safety. So please only do what you feel comfortable doing today. Even if a shoulder stand is in your practice, there are going to be days where shoulder stand is not in your practice. So take your time, check in with the body, take a moment, tune in, ask yourself what it is that you need right now. Maybe it's a child's pose, maybe it's staying right here. So we're going to press the shoulders down into the mat. Start to untuck the pelvis. Let's just go ahead and shake the head no, so we can make sure there's no tension being held in the neck. We untuck the pelvis, we lift the knees, bringing the knees close to the chest. Now, we're going to be using our core here to get up into our shoulder stand. And again, if today is not the day, that's okay. That is okay. So we're going to use the core, taking the palms, pressing down into the mat, and we are bringing the knees towards our head. And now we're going to go ahead and start to extend the legs. Remember, at any stage, you can stay right there. So if that felt good, stay here. Maybe just the knees being bent, stay there for a second. But if you like, start to extend the legs. Bring the hands to the low back. Using the elbows and the triceps as support. Good. Sending the feet up into the air. Maybe you flex them. Maybe you point them. And when you're ready, you'll start to hinge at the hips. Coming into plow pose. And if you can, you're going to tap the floor with your toes. I don't know if that's available for me today, so I'm going to stay right here. Bend the knees. And we're going to squeeze the ears. Squeeze the ears with the knees. Maybe take the hands out long. And then with control, vertebra by vertebra, engaging that core, we're going to lower back down. Woo! Maybe just stay here for just a moment. Legs up the wall, pressing the low back into the mat. That's good. Bend the knees, bring the feet down. Gonna come into fish pose. Remove your ponytail if you have one. Top of the head starts to go towards the ground. Extend the legs long. Using those elbows and the shoulders, lift the chest. Top of the head comes to the mat. Fish pose. Now, if this feels a little intense, you can always use your block. Just going to slowly lift
I'm going to grab my block. I'm going to roll over onto the side. You can take the block and sort of put it right where your spine would be. Slowly lower down into a supported fish pose. Top of the head still meets the mat. Take a few breaths here. Good. I'm going to ask that you just roll over onto one side to remove that block. Release the neck. Roll back onto the back. Now, maybe you feel good. Maybe you feel like, yep, that's all I need. Maybe you feel like you need to bring the knees into the chest. Maybe you feel like you need more of a massage. Perhaps rocking back and forth. Massaging the spine. Just take a minute to check in with the body. What do you need? Do you need another twist? Whatever movements you need to do at this moment, do them now. If you are content, then you can move into Shavasana. A couple of options for Shavasana, particularly after a shoulder stand, I like to leave my knees bent. That's just what feels good for my back. I'm allowed to untuck the pelvis when I do that. I take my feet wide and I allow my knees to fall in towards one another. Maybe that feels good. Maybe you want to come into Shavasana in its full expression, allowing the legs to go out long, arms out long, palms up or palms down. Maybe one palm up, one palm down. Take your time. Decide what works for you today. If you want your blanket, grab your blanket. If you want the bolster under your knees or supporting you in some way, do all of that now. Start to close your eyes. And as you find yourself relaxing into this pose, send the breath to different parts of your body. And with every inhale, see if you can send the breath down even deeper. And then let it all go. Take your attention to your feet and your heels, releasing all of the muscles in and throughout the feet, allowing them to weigh down towards the mat, relaxing, maybe falling to one side or another, suddenly starting to feel heavy. And allow that heaviness to travel up the legs, through the knees as they start to fall to the ground, releasing all of the muscles. Allow that to travel up through the thighs into the hips, releasing whatever we're holding there. And that feeling travels up the spine, throughout the upper back and the shoulders, down through the elbows and the wrist, and finally the neck and the head. Relaxed from toe to head. Check in with the face. Relax that space between your eyebrows. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Relax the jaw. And as relaxation comes over you, welcome it.
Taking your time, slowly begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, bringing awareness back to the body. Taking a few deep breaths, maybe taking the arms overhead and stretching as if you've just woken up in the morning. And allow yourself to gently roll over onto one side, pulling the knees into the chest, maybe using the bicep as a pillow. With every inhale, you invite clear thoughts and a clear mind. With every exhale, you release anything that is distracting you from the current moment. And keeping the eyes closed, find yourself in a seated position. Once you're there, let's go ahead and bring the hands to heart center. Take your attention back to the questions that you were presented with at the beginning of today's class. What is your heart's desire? What does it look like? Who do you trust to get you there? I'll leave you with this. We often get very caught up in the how and the step-by-step and all of the little intricacies of life. But really, we have to ask ourselves, are we in control? Is your need for control bringing you peace, or is it causing you harm? So who do you trust to get you there? Are you willing to acknowledge your heart's desire and relinquish control in order to get there? Are you aligned with what you're asking for? Who do you trust? And if you can take a moment, not to focus on the tiny little details, but to just focus on what it is that you desire, on what it is that you want, and trust that even if you don't know how it's going to happen, or if it looks differently than you expected it to, that you will get there, that your heart's desire will become a reality, that you will actually be in that picture that you painted at the beginning of today's practice. Relinquish control, lean into trust. Take a nice deep breath in. Open the mouth, let it out. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. Open the mouth and let it out. Good. And we're going to end the practice today in the way that we began, with the sound of one Om. You can join in or you can listen along. Inhale for Om. Om. Bring the hands to your head for purity of thought, to the lips for purity in speech, and finally back down to the heart space for purity in love. May you have your heart's desire. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today.